Hello everyone, this is HJJ Halloween, and today I am back and I'm going to be reviewing the Pumpkin Patch Prowler. So before I get started with today's review, don't forget that a link to my HJJ Halloween Instagram will be down in the description below, or you can also go ahead and follow me at HJJ_Halloween, and also there will be my Spirit Halloween affiliate link down there where you can shop on Spirit Halloween's website at no extra cost to you, just like you normally would, while at the same time helping out the channel, and I will be providing you guys with a bunch of promo codes to help you out with your purchases today. And if you want to specifically buy the Pumpkin Patch Prowler, which I do definitely recommend, he is an awesome animatronic for this year, there will be a link specifically to his page down in the description as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this review. So to start off with concept, I think that the Pumpkin Patch Prowler is definitely a really incredible and unique one for this year, because although we have seen other twitching props in the past that have the same sort of mechanism, this one has been rethemed so well and so differently that it really is unlike anything that we've seen before. We really haven't seen that many pumpkin props in the past. I can't really think of any off the top of my head. And the Pumpkin Patch Prowler is definitely a really incredible pumpkin prop and a really awesome idea to kind of incorporate pumpkins into an animatronic by giving it this lifelike, brought-to-life pumpkin face and all of the other features that it has, like its hands to make it look like it's kind of the plant or the vine. Definitely an awesome idea to bring this monster pumpkin to life, and I think that they did really well on this one, guys. So I am giving it a 10 out of 10 for the concept. Alright, so the next category is price, and the Pumpkin Patch Prowler is going for $199.99 on Spirit Halloween's website right now, and I don't know if I'm going crazy or what's going on, because I could swear to you guys that when this thing was released, it was going for $229.99 or $230. For some reason, I remembered that number, and when I looked it up today and saw that it was under $200 at $199.99, it really caught me off guard. So I don't know if I'm going insane, or if he has just, his price was changed and lowered from $230, but maybe it's always been at $200. I would really appreciate it if someone could let me know what the heck is going on down in the comments, and if I'm crazy or if I did notice a change, because I could swear to you guys that his price has not been $200 this entire time. So anyways, judging it off of the price it is going for right now, $199.99, I do feel that the Pumpkin Patch Prowler is fully worth that. If it was at that $230 price tag, I probably would have a bit of a problem with it, but sitting right at $200, I think it is pretty worth that price tag, considering that this thing has a pretty involved animation, and it looks absolutely incredible. So I am going to be giving it a 10 out of 10 for the price. I would take $200 for this guy any day. So the next category is setup. Really not all that much to say about his setup. If you've seen my unboxing and setup video, it's really not all that involved. Pretty simple and easy. The instructions definitely lay it out really well. So I think that his setup is one that you're really not going to have that much trouble with. So I am going to be giving him a 10 out of 10 for the setup. Alright, so for animation, I'll go ahead and plug him in and show you guys him for a little bit before I discuss it. I should have him in the on mode right now, so it should just go continuously until I unplug it. So let's see if he'll go. There. So take into account that I'm not discussing the audio in this category. That's its own separate thing, but of course it sort of is a part of the animation. But as far as the motion and the lighting goes, I think that it looks really, really awesome, guys. As soon as I saw the sneak peek, I was falling in love with the way this thing looks. It just has such an awesome animation. The way that the eyes light up and the face lights up looks awesome, and just that detail up close is incredible. It has green plastic on the eyes, so the lights shine through that, and I think it's just the perfect color for it. It also has lights in its hands, which is interesting and very unique, something that we really have not seen that much in the past at all. So it has little yellow LEDs in there that light up, and I think it's really cool that they did that because it kind of draws some attention to the hands as it's shaking around. And of course, it has that awesome twitching animation, which I really love by Seasonal Visions. Incredible idea. I don't know which animatronic was the first to have it. I would assume Twitching Banshee. That's the first one I can recall. But it's just, it always makes for a really awesome effect. I would say the Twitching Banshee maybe has a little bit better of the twitching because it really just shakes a little bit more. But this guy's head does also, you know, kind of shake around. It's on that spring, and it looks super lifelike when it is doing that, and his body really moves a lot, and just the way that the hands are formed just kind of looks like it's towering over you a little bit, even though it's not, but we'll kind of get to that more in the size. But overall, though, I just think that the motion and the lighting for its animation is really, really awesome. It also, I'm also happy that it has an option to just have it in the on position, just like the Twitching Banshee, because then, you know, for the twitching props, I really like how you can just have him continuously going all night, don't have to worry about it, and he'll just look really, really cool, you know, from a distance when you're looking at him going on. So I just think that his animation is really, really awesome. I'm definitely super impressed with it. It's one of my favorites for this year, and I am going to be giving it a 10 out of 10 for animation. The next category is audio. I'm not going to plug it in again, but I'm sure you all know what it sounds like, and you just heard it in that activation. It's just kind of a laughter, a deep kind of male voice laughter that I think definitely fits this guy. It also has crows in the background and thunder that kind of goes around, that goes off as the lights kind of flicker. It kind of corresponds with that. So I really like that aspect of it, the way that that lines up, and the crows as well is really awesome, gives it that pumpkin patch cornfield feel. And then it also, of course, has the laughter, which some people aren't huge fans of, and I can understand why, because a lot of people prefer the ones that have the phrases, but take into account that if it had a phrase, it wouldn't really, I just don't think the twitchings look as cool with having a phrase, because it doesn't really make as much sense. They just look better when they have a continuous soundtrack that can go continuously and repeat over and over when you have it in that on mode, and I really don't have a problem with it at all. I think that it fits him really well. I've never listened to it and thought that it didn't really sound right or that it was bad. I've just always thought it's not anything incredible, but it definitely is perfect for this animatronic. And also, one interesting thing about it is that if you look at the sneak peek video, it's actually different than it really is now. And I think it was Halloween Haunter that told me this, that it doesn't have the exact same audio that it did in the sneak peek, and I kind of honestly like the sneak peek audio better. It's just a little bit different. It has a different sound and some different laughs in there that aren't in this one. I think it might even be almost like completely different, like an almost entirely different soundtrack. I don't know. Go ahead and watch it for yourselves, and then you can let me know what you think, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. But the audio that it ended up with, I think, is still really awesome, fits him well, so I am going to be giving it a 10 out of 10 for the audio category. The next category is size. Now this is where he has a bit of an issue. A lot of people have an issue with the size of him, as do I, because it really was probably the most disappointing this year as far as what we were expecting from the sneak peek and what it ended up being. It is just much, much smaller than it looked in the sneak peek. The way that they had the camera angles and the cinematography in the sneak peek, it looked massive. And that's why when I first saw it, I was like, holy crap, this is my #1 favorite, because it just looked so incredible. And I don't want to, you know, cut it too, or be too harsh on it, because it still looks absolutely amazing, but I just think that if they had this exact same look on some sort of like a towering, over 7 foot, like maybe towering clown size or more, that it would just be even more incredible. And I think that's why I'm almost on the fence as to if this really is my #1 this year, because of the letdown of the size. It's not all that big a deal, guys, though. I don't want to discouraging you from picking this thing up, because it still is super incredible, and it's probably at least in my top 3. My top 3 is just kind of, you know, kind of interchangeable at this point, but it just isn't what we were expecting. I really was expecting a towering prop. I probably could have just found out that it wasn't if I looked in the description of it when they released it, but in the sneak peek, I really thought that it was much larger than it turned out to be. When I saw it in stores for the first time, I was definitely really surprised at how it looked. It's only a bit taller than me. I'm 5'9", and like I'm right here on it, and supposedly this thing is, let me see, 74 inches tall or 6 feet. I put a question mark next to that when I wrote it because it doesn't really look 6 feet, but I guess if 5'9", I guess that's only, what, 3 more inches, so I guess to the tippy top of this thing, yeah, maybe it's 6 feet, but 6 feet really isn't all that large anyways. So yeah, the size is just probably the most disappointing thing about him, because I think they really presented it as in the sneak peek as if it was a giant towering pumpkin, and I think he would have looked so amazing and been like a big contester with the Cornstalker almost. No, he's a huge, that's a huge favorite, the Cornstalker, but I just think that it would have almost been like a Cornstalker 2.0 if it would have been that massive. Maybe not quite that massive, but something like that I think would have been so awesome for this guy, and it just turns out that that is not the case. Still love him, but I'm gonna have to give him a 5 out of 10 for the size category, because it probably was the most, or the biggest letdown as far as the size goes for this 2018 season. The next category is detail, and I really wish I could give it a 20 out of 10 for this category, because this is the most impressive detail I think I have ever seen in a Spirit Halloween animatronic, and some of you may disagree with me on that, but I just can't think of anything that has blown me away as much as this face. It's not necessarily like professional quality, it's just hard plastic, and you can see there's even screws that are kind of visible on it, but the way that the mold turned out is so perfect that I could not ask for anything better from Seasonal Visions for this animatronic, because the way that just the mouth looks all jagged and wicked and like it was carved right into the face, if you just kind of look at these edges here, the pumpkin flesh right here, the way that the teeth just look like they're actually carved out of the pumpkin flesh, kind of that yellow flesh that's inside of a pumpkin, the green eyes are the perfect shape. It's kind of a interesting, more of like trapezoid shape, which we haven't really seen an eye like that before, but it's so perfect for this guy. All of the cuts in the pumpkin, the scrapes on the pumpkin, all of these little cracks is what they are right along here. Just unbelievable, and it in pictures and everything, it just absolutely blows me away. I wish it was larger. It's, you know, not, if you look at compared to my hand, it's not massive. I really wish it was like a giant pumpkin head, but it's still, the detail in it is just unbelievable, and even the detail in the hands is so amazing. It's nothing we've ever really seen before. It just has that kind of vine look to it, the cracks and crevices in there. The colors that were used on it is just so perfect, and even the shape of them is just very realistic and lifelike with that vine look, especially from this angle you can see. They're just really, really awesome. So the detail in this thing is unbelievable. I really just can't get enough of it. That is why this is such a huge favorite of mine this year. It really is the feature of him that makes him stand out from all the rest. And I will obviously be giving him a 10 out of 10 for the detail. The next category is clothing. There's really not all that much to say about it. When I first saw it in the sneak peek and when he was released, I was pretty disappointed with it because it's just kind of basic and doesn't really look like much of anything. Like if you look at the pattern right here, it's like, what is this splatter? Like what is going on there? But I've sort of started to realize that I don't really think it matters all that much because it's really just trying not to draw attention to it. Of course, all of the attention is drawn right to the head because it has those popping colors, and the rest of it, it's just not really seen that much. It's not meant to look like much of anything except for some sort of like a vine, twisted up, tangled vines, which I think is what it's trying to achieve. Maybe it could have been a little bit better. Maybe it could have looked a little bit more like leaves or something. It's not the greatest, but it's definitely just sufficient for what this prop needs. And definitely with the addition of the creepy cloth add-on, that is what kind of compensates for it and brings the score right back up, because the creepy cloth looks actually really awesome. The way that it dangles off of the hands, you can just kind of throw it over the fingers like this. The way that it just kind of dangles all across here, you kind of just drape it over, and as he moves and stuff, that kind of sways along with him, and that kind of gives it that vine look as well. It looks like, you know, vines or something tangled hanging down off of him, and makes him look like he's this, you know, big plant monster coming up from the ground. So I think that aspect of it, the way that the creepy cloth looks, definitely makes up for it, and then I think makes his clothing look really awesome. If they didn't have that, I think there would be a bit of a problem with it, because then it would look just kind of plain and strange. But the creepy cloth was definitely a good idea by Spirit Halloween. So I am going to be giving it a 10 out of 10 for the clothing category. Next category is scare factor. There really isn't any sort of notable jump scare with this guy, and also I don't think he's even really intended to be all that creepy. The detail in the face is definitely pretty terrifying. Just has a really creepy look to it, especially if it catches you off guard and you turn a corner and see this thing. It's really creepy, but it's not anything, you know, like super scary. It's not one of the scariest ones that we've seen before, and I think that it's more of like a family-friendly kind of one, but at the same time, it does bring the creepiness that it needs to Halloween. So there really isn't all that much to say about it. It's not terrifying, but it really isn't meant to be, but still, again, I think the detail in it is what makes it look pretty creepy, though, still. So anyways, I will be giving it a 10 out of 10 for scare factor. I think it could still definitely probably scare some kids that don't like the look of that menacing pumpkin face. Alright, so the last category is the durability, and of course, on all of the Seasonal Visions props, they're made out of high-quality metal. They have snap-lock connections, everything is very secure, and I've never once had a problem really with any Seasonal Visions prop as far as durability goes. They all just hold up really well because they're made out of high-quality materials, and the mechanisms are strong, and everything is all good. Now, Techie Toys, that's where we start to have a problem, but Seasonal Visions, they definitely do it right and make your props last for that big money that you are spending on them. They should, and they definitely do with the Seasonal Visions ones. The only thing about this guy is that he has a loud motor, and I know I made like a slight mention of that in my unboxing and setup video, and some of you guys were commenting, oh, don't worry about it, all of them have a loud motor. I was kind of realizing that that's just kind of how it is. It doesn't really indicate that it's gonna break on me or anything, because it just is kind of how it is. It's holding a lot of weight and it's moving it from side to side, so I also wouldn't really worry about that. I just want to make a note of it, because if you guys noticed it when you ordered it that it had a loud motor, it's really nothing to worry about. It's not going to break. It's just the mechanism working. It's just kind of a loud one that on this animatronic. So anyways, this one is definitely not going to break on you. It's built well. It's made to last. So I will be giving it a 10 out of 10 for durability. So that is it for all of the categories. Just to summarize the scores that it got a 10 for concept, a 10 for price, a 10 for setup, a 10 for animation, a 10 for audio, a 5 for size, a 10 for detail, a 10 for clothing, a 10 for scare factor, a 10 for durability, so just 5 off of the size for it being a little bit disappointingly small, so not really that big of a deal, but anyways, that adds up to a 95% animatronic. So I give the Pumpkin Patch Prowler a solid A score. I definitely think he is one of the better ones for this year, and probably still is my favorite, or at least like my second favorite. Of course, the size is the most disappointing thing about him, but other than that, he excels in every other aspect, and again, is one of the best ones for the 2018 season, and one of the best ones that we have seen in the past few years even. He is a really, really awesome animatronic, so I certainly highly recommend him, but this also goes to show that my favorite, and my favorites can sometimes also have their flaws. They're not all perfect, and even if I like rated one a 70%, it could still be one of my favorites because sometimes they have issues with durability or whatever it happens to be, but at the same time, I still really love them. So this prop, although he has the issues with the size, it still is one that is a huge favorite of mine for this year. So again, highly recommend him. Links to buy him will be down in the description below, as well as my Spirit Halloween affiliate link, like I said in the beginning. So anyways, I hope you all have enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. Let me know what you think of the Pumpkin Patch Prowler down in the comment section below, and also make sure you answer that poll that should have popped up when the score came up to let me know if you agreed with my score or not. So anyways, guys, I hope you're all having a great day and that you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.